going to take the two of us, side by side at a time when we couldn't be further apart.
I think, it's, we pick him up, he's in prison, he's been in there for pretty much a decade in isolation. So when he comes out, he continues working in a very isolated way. And he is very much a one-man army in this. Before we see that he's got, followers in the other X-Men movies. Well, this, he's operating totally on his own in this, as is Mystique. So all of the mutant army that he had is totally fragmented. They're either killed or they're sort of, being separated from him. So that's kind of his mentality as well. It's very singular. It's much more ruthless than we saw in First Class. It's much more Machiavellian. The means justifies the end. And, or the end justifies the means, rather. And so we see a colder version of him, essentially. He even sets about taking Mystique out, and that she's the one person that he really does have feelings for, and so we get an idea of what he's prepared to do.
You're afraid. I remember.
Yeah, he's a mess. I think, this is the 7th time we've seen Xavier in movies, and if you weren't going to do something different with him, then I'm not interested in him being one of the lead characters in the movie, because it's the same old. So we had to do something different with him, and with the events of the previous film, First Class, and the way he was left physically traumatised and emotionally traumatised, and to his mind, abandoned by the two people that he's become closest to in his life, he's got a lot of pain to work through. So he's resorted to drugs, and he's resorted to using way too much alcohol, and he's just trying to hide from the world and numb it. And what that does is it sort of numbs who he is and inhibits his power as well as his personality too.
If you want to fight, Erik, I will give you a fight. Let him go. You abandoned me. You took.
I think that's always there. I think brothers is a very good analogy, because they can go to war.
Yeah.
And then they can be very close, and it's like fine for them to go to war with one another, but if somebody else attacks them,
whoa.
Yeah,
brother. You're talking about my brother with that. Yeah. I can talk about my brother like
Exactly. So that's a really good analogy. Unfortunately, we didn't really have that much to do in this one.
I was a bit disappointed in that.
I was too.
Yeah.
We had kind of 3 scenes, and that was it.